Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the Cyber Gizmo, I'm going to be looking at Peppermint OS. This was released on July the 1st in 2023. And so let's take a look at what this new release is offering. Peppermint OS is based on Debian, and this one is based on Bookworm, or version 12. It comes in either a 32 or a 64-bit, so you have your choice there. There will be a server version of this as well, probably toward the end of the year. There will be an ARM version at some point. And of course, there's also a Devuan-based implementation of this as well. Now, they're currently waiting on Devuan Dataless, and that currently isn't released yet. So that's based on Debian 12. So I don't know when that'll be. Obviously, they can't start their work until Devuan completes theirs, right? The brand for Peppermint OS has been updated to try to remove the suite logo that they normally have. That was the peppermint lozenges that they use for their logo. So they're trying to remove that, and also they're updating the Plymouth design, which is the boot screen before you come and log into your system. They're also adjusting the welcome application according to feedback they received in the previous release of Peppermint. There's also an updated Peppermint Docs page that you can access from your workstation. You can also there's also the Peppermint Hub. That too has been adjusted based on user feedback. And they have replaced ICE, which is what they use for their SSB web pages, and they replaced that with Kumo. I think their feeling behind that is that Kumo offers kind of a simplified UI, as well as it not only supports SSB website, so you can basically create an application out of a website, but they also are able to use the more progressive PAE based systems as well. Calamari, they sped up the installation a little bit. They used to remove the installation packages. They no longer do that. So if you're wanting to clean up that after you start up for your initial, your initial work to get everything ready, I'll show you where there's some scripts that you can get that will help you in getting rid of that installation overhead. They have also based the themes off Mirawada, and they also use the Tila icons for that as well. So you'll find that this is completely updated from the previous release. They're going through a lot of changes, but I think, as with most open source projects, they have a goal in mind, but in each successive build, there's only so much based on how many people they have to work on stuff that they're able to accomplish in a build stretch. So, I mean, that's just the way it is with open source. It's the way it is with commercial applications too. In fact, I have actually seen cases where features have been jettisoned because they would make the product late. So, yep, they'll just move them off to the next cycle. Peppermint 2023 you're going to find to be a little bit different than the older Peppermint 11. First of all, the differences is it's based on Debian 12 and not 11. And there's also Devuan, just like there was before on the Peppermint 11. Devuan also was supported there. XFCE has been updated to 4.18, and it was 4.16 in the previous release. They're still using Calamaris. In the previous release, they only had a 64-bit version. Well, now they have both 32 and 64-bit. And that's for x86 platforms. Also, there is a ARM version. I don't know if that's 64-bit or 32-bit or both. I don't know. There isn't any web browser installed, just like there was previously. So one of the first tasks you'll have to complete is to choose one, and they have a list in their welcome screen of suggestions that you might want to follow. However, as far as app containers are concerned, Peppermint 11 didn't have any, but Peppermint 2023 does. They offer support for app images, Flatpaks, as well as snaps. And as I mentioned previously, ICE has been replaced by Kumo. There's also an online guide, just like there was in Peppermint 11. There's also online forums. There's also, you can install the NVIDIA drivers. And I have not tested that yet. The kernel version is 6.1.0 instead of 5.10, so quite a bit of difference there. Peppermint OS has a minimum build platform they have planned for 2023 that's supposed to be about 173 megabytes of memory, and it uses the Debian net install. I didn't see an option for this at the time that I'm doing this review. Peppermint OS is also supporting Codeberg for their code base. So that's where you can find the scripts for your post-installation work if you want, as well as the code for the installer and any of the custom code that they have written for Peppermint. So I guess the first thing we should do is give this a try. Let's go install it, and I'll walk you through that. And then we'll kind of kick the tires on it a little bit. I'll do my usual benchmarks, and then we'll come back at the end. So it's coming up. We get the welcome screen, so I guess that's okay, but probably not too much use here because this is, of course, running out of memory. So there is this installer for install Peppermint. So we'll go ahead and do that first. And we have calamaris. And this hasn't been updated all that much since the last release, but I do see some new branding in here like this. So that's good. Looks like they're abbreviating it PMOS. Interesting. So let's see what we've got. Okay, we've got, I'm not sure what that is. Let's take a look. Maybe it'll, F2FS. Nice. That's nice. So we'll do a swap, but no hibernate. This will create a partition. But if you prefer, you can also set your swap to file. You can also manually partition. So let's give this a try here. And no, we don't want to log in automatically. So then it verifies, okay, this is what you're going to do, and then it's taken off. I'll be back when this is done. This shouldn't take very long, I wouldn't think. There's our Plymouth screen. Went right by it. Good. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is get over here to the display and fix this. It's the wrong resolution. Okay, so we have the welcome screen here. Let's come back to that for a second. I want to go do all my usual stuff first before I get too much, things running and get a lot of things cached. So, all right, let me bring that up a little bit bigger for you so you can see what I'm doing. First thing, let's take a look at, see what, we're running 6.1.0. And we'll go ahead and do this just to make sure we're up to date. Looks like we are. All right, so let's check. And we have about 4.7 gig in use. That's not horrible. HTOP installed? Nope. How about, of course, glances wouldn't be. Let's go look. Top should be. So let's see. We have out of the 4 gig, 2.6 is free, 832 is in use. Okay. I think this is installed by default. They have a much simpler version of NeoFetch. They're trying to get away from the candy, or as they said, the sweet logo. So, yeah, that's going to get dated really fast. So I'm assuming they don't display it because it's going to show up with the peppermint. Now, I put the peppermint back, but I blew it up on when I told the AI to generate it. So yeah, that's what's happening there. It is blowing apart. We have 1,498 packages installed, and this is on a 12th gen. I see that we're using Marwata for our themes, which is good. And this is XFCE 418. So I guess let's go ahead. I want get and anything else I need here? I don't think so. Get should have been there already, I guess. Okay. Let's just take a look and see what we get for a baseline. Okay, let's see what the base is. 64. Anything above 70 is a passing grade. Very few distributions pass. But we don't have any warnings here. So it's the typical kind of things that we have to do in the hardening. So all right, after doing all that, we have 900 and well 889 is dropping a little bit. And that includes, of course, the application caches. Not a lot of overhead. Well, let's go take a look at the benchmarks. And I'll give you kind of a brief explanation of what we saw at the end. So let's take a look at the harmonic mean since we're right here. So as you can see, Rocky was the number one as far as the overall harmonic mean for the test. Peppermint finished in third, but you know, it isn't a wide difference between the top and them. As far as the IOPS test, Ubuntu was first, followed by Alpine, then Debian, then Rocky, and then Peppermint. Yeah, I don't know why it dropped back so far. As far as the mean of megabytes per second, Fedora, it was first, followed by Rocky, Ubuntu, Debian, and then Peppermint again. It's pretty narrow. It's just an 11-point margin between Peppermint and Fedora. So it's not wide. It's not a wide margin at all. Peppermint, as far as the mean of all tests, looks like to me it was 4654, then Debian, then Peppermint, so about third. Again, not a huge gap. Then we have Fedora at 1.1 for CPU massive, and Peppermint was 1.0. Ubuntu on the disk suite was first. This almost shakes out exactly the way the disk benchmarks went. And Peppermint was first in the memory test, which they usually are. For whatever reason. And then the geometric mean of server test, Ubuntu was first, followed by Rocky, followed by Peppermint. And then the mean server CPU test was third, but it is almost in the noise between Debian and Peppermint, which is kind of what you would expect because they're both, as far as functionality is concerned, almost identical. The geometric mean of a single threaded test, they came in second after Fedora. It is really close. Just a couple of hundredths of a point. As far as first place finishes, Rocky did best overall with 13. Debian had 12. Fedora had, looks like, 9. Yeah. And then Ubuntu, and then Alpine, and then Peppermint had 1. Last place finishes, Fedora also had a number of those, and Alpine had a number, Ubuntu had a number, Peppermint had 2. So, yeah. So overall, I think Peppermint has a pretty good showing here. It's a good overall rounder for its performance as a distribution. It's not bad. I mean, it's so close to the top runners. Like I said, I think it's in the noise. I'm going to give you my final thoughts, and we'll kind of wrap things up. So we've had a chance to look at the installation and kind of look at some of the features of the OS as well as what its requirements are to run. And I mean, as always, Peppermint OS has, I have a lot of respect for this development team. They are trying to continue on with what Mark Greaves had left, and they are forging their own path now forward to bring this operating system and this distro into its own. So, and I respect that. I think that's good. I think they should. I think they should take what they want to do and turn it into how they want things to work in the future. They have built a build environment around this, and they have good code management, and I think all of those things will help them down the road. Now, Kumo has the ability to support PWAs. Those are progressive web applications, which is newer over the traditional SSB method of doing it. That was developed, I think, by Google originally for Android as well as for Chrome. And so I think right now PWA it isn't as widespread of support as, say, SSB has, but I think that'll change over time. So I think they're kind of waiting and to see how PWA folds out or rolls out into the internet, how well it will be accepted. There are a number of issues with PWA. For example, Flutter doesn't use it at all. It's just one of those things that Google does. They're so big, sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And so, yeah, they go off in two different directions. They're trying to use Flutter as their UI development, and yet it doesn't support PWA. So there's some open questions about whether that will be the thing to use going forward or not. But we'll see. And I think the Peppermint people are being very smart about doing exactly that same thing. So we've been through the install. We've been through kind of an abbreviated walkthrough because I've already included a bunch of those slides when we were talking about it. And we looked at the benchmarks. And with that, I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.